Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of NDL's Pardon the Disruption. Today we have the head coach of Vanderbilt D. Kane, head coach of Houston Beer Coug, head coach of Boise State IROC. You got head coach of Louisville Swovine and myself, Freak, head coach of Syracuse. This episode will be covering the review of Block One, a potential preview of Block 2, as well as any shenanigans that have gone on in the live chat within the past few days, as well as some real talk. Um, with with the first question, after revealing the preseason poll this past weekend, which team outside of the top 25 comes into the season with the most anticipation slash hype? Are there any teams that were left out of are there any teams that were left out that you feel should start the season ranked? Who wants to go first?
Guess I can go ahead and jump in first. Teams that I would have thought would have been ranked, definitely would have thought Memphis would have got a ranking, seeing that he is returning to that team and he is the All American Conference champion. He's showing back up, so I thought he would have at least been in the bottom half of the rankings. Surprised I didn't see USC on there, Ole Miss, or Arizona State. Those are probably the ones that surprised me to missing out of the top 25.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that. I believe there was no P5 love, or not P5, G5 love. So I start screwing that up again. Yeah, no G5 love in the top 25 this go around. I know myself, I'm sitting at 28, looking at others receiving votes, but I would have said the same for Memphis being in there, USC missing the cut, and I mean, I guess with the coaching changes, I think that's some of the other things. But I say Ole Miss, Miami, USC are some interesting omissions, and then the fact that there's just no G5 representative at all is a little bit of a surprise.
I mean,
Illinois.
what do you think's gonna? Go ahead, Kook.
No, I was just saying Illinois too, Miami. There's a couple. Vanderbilt. He's been playing well too in scrim. He came there.
I agree with everything that you guys have said. I would also say that the no Group 5 love. It kind of hurts. Missouri State's coach, Jose decided to leave Georgia and went to decided to leave Missouri State and went to Georgia. So, that automatically takes one G5 out of that top 25. Same time, you do have Boise State on the Smurf turf. That's a bit of a shock that they're not getting in. Memphis as well. Um, Take a look at UConn. UConn has continued to succeed season and season and season. No, he doesn't get the love that he should get.
Yeah, also Central Michigan. I mean, every season, Chip always ends up on the top 25. So the fact that he doesn't start out there is a little bit of surprise as well.
I agree with you on Chip. Chip's a solid baller as well. He knows his team in and out. He plays very well, and he is expected to be on that top 25. However, when you have a lot of turnover, you have coaches keeping up with who was in the top 25 last season and what their new teams are for this season. You can mostly expect that's what's going to happen, because they follow that end of year top 25 poll. They don't really happen to go off the new poll, or I'm sorry, where each and every team has gone, what the OOC schedules look like. So, it's just a lot. Swover
Yeah.
Drew?
Yeah, I can go. Um, let's see. A couple of teams that I thought deserve to be ranked, depending on whether you're looking at the media poll or the coaches poll. USC being included only in the media poll right at the very end. I thought they had a good enough season last time around, 10-3 in the MAC. They looked pretty confident offensively. I don't think they had a single game where they scored less than 31 points, so they were always putting up big numbers. So I felt like with the transition to a power program like USC that enables them to keep scoring, I think it's only a matter of time we see them ranked, but I also feel like they should have started ranked as well. Similar vein, another former Mac user, Illinois was only included in the coaches poll, not the media poll. Another solid season out of the Mac. A low Massey, despite the record last season. I think most of that was due to strength of schedule issues. So there's probably some doubts from voters about how that'll translate to the Power Four. And then last but not least is Miami was left out altogether from both polls. Um, I feel like they could have definitely deserved like the 25, 24, one of those last top 25 spots because they've proven time and time again with multiple wins against ranked opponents last season. Solid bowl game showing that went down to the wire against Tennessee. I think they should have a lot to prove this upcoming season. Hopefully, they'll have an opportunity to quiet their doubters.
Anyone else have anything else to say before we move on to the next topic?
I could probably keep yapping if you want me to. I have more than enough content to cover this one.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next topic. I'm actually gonna go off the book right here. So in the live chat, I believe it was yesterday, there was a mention of a potential MMA street fight between Weasel and Marion County. Who do you think would win that fight? The mouth of New York or Massachusetts' own?
Hmm. I'm gonna have to.
Oh
I'm
no,
gonna have to.
man.
I'm gonna lean Marion County.
I'm gonna abstain. I was not prepared for that question.
I mean, I'd have to go with Marion too, just because he said he trained 9 years with Gracie. So I mean that right there. Even though Weasel is a professional boxer, so I mean I don't know. What do y'all? I mean, what do you think? A boxer
I
versus
think they
a
gonna hit each other in the face at the same time and both fall out. That's what I think.
oh
Oh
yeah,
my God,
Double
double
KO. I
knockout.
like
That'd
it.
be amazing.
I like that.
that would be great. Like that's perfect. I would like to see
All
it
right. I mean, I would love to see, the fact that, they talk so much in that chat. Weasel's brought his own mentality into this league and Marion, Marion's Marion. But all right, let's let's get on to topic number two. What are your thoughts on block number one results so far? What results have surprised you the most?
Think some
All
easy
right.
low hanging fruit. Oh, you want to go
Yeah,
first?
go ahead.
Okay.
No. Go ahead, because I got a lot
Okay.
to say.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say some easy
Well, I
low
thought
hanging
that
fruit was a steam hanging with Jiggy, keeping it interesting against Florida. I think. Wow, I believe we called that out as a game to keep an eye on. A lot of folks assumed Jiggy was going to run away with that one, especially considering Steam's 76 rated D at Georgia Tech, and he hung tough to his credit. And even had the lead going into halftime. So um, I would say that's my big surprise right there is that it wasn't a blowout, which was nice.
I know me. I had a few games that actually kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. Well, shout out to Mort. I didn't think he wasn't going to do well, but the fact that he had control for most of that game, where Wiles has known that team for a while, and Mort's just getting into the fray with OU. The way that game turned out, that was a bit of a surprise. Surprised that the Duke Minnesota game was so close. Um, Also, V Tech giving Ohio State a little bit of a run for their money. That was a little bit of a surprise as well. So ACC, y'all need to watch out. Chase looks like he's really getting those guys together. And although he dropped 80 points in his game, I'm still surprised that Weasel gave up 52 points. Middle Tennessee State. I mean, only thing I can believe or I can maybe see is maybe he was just doing it so that he could keep scoring. That's where I'm trying to lean to. Otherwise, I'm just like, bro, what's going on?
I mean, the
I'm also
rumor
surprised
has
that the
it.
Penn State. Oh, that.
Rumor has it his team's doing sprints.
Oh God. My last two, I'm surprised that the Penn State and UGA game was not closer than it was. I did not expect that to be as one-sided. And I'm surprised that ASU dropped the game to Boise. That was wow. That's Arizona State. Okay.
I'm as surprised as you are, buddy. Uh,
He was almost 0-2.
yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, I think we missed one before everybody else goes that I did miss. I say East Carolina knocking off NC State was definitely a pleasant surprise. My dark
Oh my God,
horse
I missed that.
G5 team. Yeah, that
Oh
one
my God, I missed that.
that happened last night. So yeah, that would probably be the other big one right there. Pirate Flag with his team already making noise. So you'll
That
love to
happened
see
last
that.
night.
I think it was last night.
Okay, see, that's why I missed it.
Yeah,
I did my research the night before, so yeah, that's why I missed that one.
there you go.
Freak, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Jump on in.
Nice. Hey, I wanted to, sorry, boys, busy day at work. You got background noise that's loud as shit in here. Are you okay? I just want to make sure you can hear me and not the hum of all your equipment. Hey, I
Oh
was
no,
going to
no,
talk
you're good.
about
We
NC
hear you
State.
perfectly.
Perfect. I was interested in that game, kind of about it not being a surprise. When NCX was on the other day with game day, I had put a comment in the chat with, but I wanted to hit on NC State because all the credit to homie in the world, but I was thinking about the results of last season, game theory, etc. You think about how many tight games he played, holding jumper to 21 with Duke, beating 24-21, understanding how geared towards offense this game is. Um, some people were kind of surprised with his preseason poll position. I am one of those that had voted him quite a bit lower, still in my top 25, but well down to the team. Reason being was Homie's a great player, but I just didn't feel in my stomach like he could replicate what he did last year from a defensive standpoint and win the games that he won last year. Right? Same kind of thing happens in real life. Sometimes a lesser team beats a better team. A lot of that may be due to turnovers or other game theory things. But it's just one of those things where you look at some of those results and you can interpret it two ways. But I was still surprised that Pirate Flag went and won. I was always thought it was going to be a close game, but I'm maybe not surprised that other people also voted them lower. So I'm glad that people are bringing that game up because that was one that I think you can see both sides of, and it kind of talks a lot about or focuses a lot about what's even going on in the live chat with top 25 voting, et cetera. But anyway, just wanted to input that on NC State.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. So after seeing Auburn beat Middle Tennessee State University 80-52, rest in peace to both their defenses. What are your thoughts on the current state of defense in college football 26? Can NDL do anything to fix this issue? Does it need fixing? Or is defense just trash in this game? Please go ahead.
I mean, honestly, there's nothing the NDL can do. That's not an NDL problem. It's not. I don't really think it's coaches being that bad at defense that the scores are turning out the way that they are. I mean, you have a various mix of things. Um, from bad, there are some bad play calls, and there are some people who do take their players out of position. But you can't control when the offensive player, it's hit rolls off that hit, then bounces off the next tackle attempt and runs for a touchdown because nobody else is back there, or a running back that stiff arms like four people and then breaks away for something. I mean, you can't control that, and there's a lot of that going on in this game. Or the tight end that catches the ball over the middle and you've hit him in the hip and he's flipping almost backwards, but he lands perfectly and he's able to keep going. Like it's a lot of crazy stuff that happens that is way out of our control, and that right there is sometimes a big factor into why these games get sent down the drain. And we still have very bad pursuit angles. Like there's sometimes you'll be watching your defender coming towards the ball carrier, and then like they cut in a way that's like, where are you going? Like I don't even understand what's going on right now. So yeah, that's not an NDL thing.
Does anybody think that, and I've seen it in the live chat, that only using or not using custom playbooks would help if you only had to use the team's playbook?
That's a
I
great
don't
I've
think it would
question.
been
help.
on I've been on both sides of the argument. I mean, custom playbooks would be fun because it would be more of a challenge to get people to step out of their comfort zones. But I feel like we've had this discussion before where you're going to see people get comfortable with 5 to 10 plays out of that playbook, and you're going to see a repetitive cycle of that over and over again. Um, but at the same time, yeah, to challenge somebody will be interesting, but it's also what's going to be the backlash. Like what are we going to see when you stick somebody into this box and they don't open up that playbook the way that they should.
I mean, to add on to that, personally, my custom playbook has almost every formation out there because I personally like to mix up the defense all together because honestly, I'm always worried about a coach report ding. You know, I play the game sim. I play it to yes, I play it to win at times, but at the same time, when it comes down to defense, I'm going off of what the offense has selected. If you selected three receivers, one tight end, one running back, all right, I'm coming out of either nickel, 4-2-5, 3-3-5, or dime or dollar. I'm mixing it up, but I understand. I understand with what D Kane had said. I understand in regards to using stock, but at the same time, I prefer a custom playbook where I can actually use any type of defense, any type of formation.
Yet I think, like in the live chat, it was more like, should you make the offenses, do away with custom playbooks? Would that help the defense or help defensive numbers? I guess.
I feel like it
I don't.
could help the defense, but I feel like the main problem you run into would be coach reports because I think maybe it was either during the off season or late last version where the discussion was kind of around using stock playbooks. And I know a lot of people I talk to, they use custom playbooks because the stock playbooks have so few formation variations. And so then it's like, okay, well, now I'm getting dinged on my coach report because the I don't know the Boise the Boise playbook only has pistol, I think pistol single back and like five shotgun formations. So I'm sitting in three pistol formations, two single back formations, and like five shotgun formations. So you could easily fall into that trap, like D Kane said. Um, you're getting comfortable with 10 to 15 plays, and that's all you're running the whole game, and then you have a coach report problem suddenly. So I can see that happening very easily.
Yeah, I don't think people actually break down the numbers of this game the way that they should. Because if you did, you would realize you don't need 15 shotguns, three, pistols, two I formations. You don't need all that. You're running 40 plays in an entire game. 40. Okay. So take the number of plays plus the number of formations plus and figure that you're gonna have more plays than you need. I guarantee you. Right now, my
Mhm.
playbook I think has about 350 plays. That's my custom playbook because I realized that a lot of times we put in stuff because it's like, oh, it'd be nice to have this. Oh, it'd be nice to have this. But then we overwhelm ourselves because we're sitting there looking for stuff that we don't even know where it is, or we can't even
Mhm.
remember the play that we were actually trying to look for. It's like in all honesty, we do too much. We really do. Um,
No
and
comment.
if you look at some of the coaches, who are like successful on the offensive side of the ball, like you look at a Jiggy, you look at a Smith, like those offenses are actually very simple. What Jiggy does is that Jiggy will come out in the formation, he'll call a play, and based on what you're doing, he will make adjustments to that play. So technically, it's a different play. Even if he, so you have to think outside of the box that way, because that way you will bring this into more back into more of a chess game and less of how do I outsmart somebody or how do I get over on this or whatever the case may be. Because if I come out in a formation and it looks like a play that I just ran, but I just make two hot routes to completely change up the whole thing, you're expecting this and now you're getting something else, and that's gonna like that's the thing that I'm thinking about now, that I don't think we actually put that type of thought into when it comes to our playbooks. And so if you see a guy in a formation and it looks like the same play or it looks like you can't just you have that's why for me I have to go back and watch the game after the game is done, because I have to see what the play, how the play developed, like what's going on, so I know it for a fact that I'm not dinging somebody for something that they didn't do.
So in essence, you just
Kane, I
gave
got a
the
question.
full scout.
Go ahead, Freak.
I was gonna say, in essence, you just gave the full scouting report on Jiggy for the NDL. You know, he's basically been running it since he has got come into this league in season 29. You gave the entire scout report. Good to know. Thank you.
Kane, I got a question for you. I have 2 points that lead into my question. The Freak's original question about defense. Uh, Two things. One, I think part of it is looking at it from the aspect of somebody like myself who isn't great at the game. Uh, I spent some time talking with G. Kennedy, and he gave me some good pointers about things to look for, ways you can combat certain things, and give up yardage but not let them hit home runs, etc. And I'm still losing, but I've definitely improved on my defense. I mean, unless you're somebody that understands all the rules of match coverage, everything else, there's no way you're ever going to be able to be a defensive wizard. So I think that there's definitely a threshold to where just the user's knowledge and skill can get them in the game. Um, but then that second aspect is, and I think maybe we don't talk about this enough, or we just kind of lose sight of it in the video game world. But in real life, football is a chess match, right? I mean, how much time do these coaches spend dissecting and running percentages and things in their mind of trying to be able to guess just what the offense is doing and then trying to combat that themselves? So it's not even necessarily fully a user stick skill issue. It's part of it's the mental makeup, right? Being able to know what you're looking at, like a Jiggy, so he can make adjustments based on your look and have the best probability of getting one or two reads wide open. So, and that's something I like about it because I like I want that chess match, right? I want to be able to see if I can figure out another guy. And RB was talking about that in the chat today too. So it's not just a me thing. A lot of guys are playing it with that in mind. But what I had a question about was because we're talking about the game and defense versus offense. Does anybody else feel like the offensive badges are way more powerful than the defensive badges? Because I feel like that's part of the offensive, like guys that have the break tackle, all these different badges to the running back, you don't stand a chance. And so the badge aspect to me is probably something that skews offense even more than just the coding of the game to begin with and making passing be so much easier and hard to defend. Like, what do you, somebody like D Kane who knows the game way more in depth than me, do you feel that way as well about the badges?
The badges make a difference, but it does on both sides of the ball. I hate to break it to you. Badges are more important than your ratings. I right now on my team, I have a 72 overall rated lineman, but he has a workhorse badge and another badge. I can't remember, but he has two badges that the other two don't have, and he outperforms him. So yeah, he's starting. Like the badges play a big difference because that's going to be the slight deciding factor over that 1 point rating or that 3 point rating in difference. It actually makes a big difference. And for the offensive side of the ball, yeah, it's a little bit. It seems to be a little bit more impactful because it's the ball carriers, whether it be the quarterback, the running back, or the receiver, or the tight end. Once they have the ball, that get to put those in place. Whether because if you're not controlling, a guy who has blowout, or a guy who has hammer or anything like that, if you're not controlling them or they're not in the vicinity to make the play, then their badge isn't going to come into play. I mean, you're going to have more people on the defensive side of the ball that don't have badges than you do on the offensive side of the ball that do, and that's where I think we run into that lopsided parity, because you got more weapons over here essentially than you got over here. So yeah, you do seem like it's a little one sided, because, like I said, you get guys who are stiff arm. Like I told in another league, I was like, yeah, you got a guy who's 160 pounds, stiff arming a 220-pound linebacker. Yeah, I'm going to be diving at everybody because it's ridiculous. I'm not going to sit up here and go for the sure arm tackle, and knowing I have the um, weight advantage, but here it is. I'm getting knocked down by somebody who is nowhere near. And I see these smaller guys like actually throwing down D tackles on the ground. Like, come on, man. What are we? What part of the game is this? Like, I'm confused. So yeah, the badges play a difference, but offense is really overpowered in this version.
And that's why. So I was asking that because I was thinking about the conversation. I believe it was on game day, but somebody had brought up El Jefe and Clemson about how he runs the table in the regular season, but he's always seemed to come up short in the playoff. And I'm not knocking El Jefe's skills by any means, but I only thought of that because of this same thing. I was wondering if badges at times maybe make a user skill level look more disparate between two guys in the game. Like El Jefe has these running backs that are unbelievable. Is he playing guys that are that much worse than him, or are he playing guys without defensive players with badges that simply weren't going to stand a chance against that to begin with, the way the game's played? Again, that's not taking anything away from anybody. Just feel like that kind of adds context to, like, when you're comparing these top users, things like the badges that they have coming into play as
We
part of
have
the
a more
overall team makeup, not just the user,
we have a more recent example of this. Look at the Penn State and Georgia game. Freaking Penn State's running backs all have badges, and they were running left and right. Like, it was ridiculous. And Georgia's defense isn't horrible. So yeah, that was a perfect example right there.
I'm sorry, guys. I was reading over the chat, and since we mentioned the Middle Tennessee and Auburn game, I saw Chrome's comment. I feel like my input isn't valid. I'm new to the league, and I only use stock playbooks. I'm not smart enough to craft a custom one. My high scores are because my defense is a bunch of middle schoolers going up against NFL draft picks. Oh my god!
He's not lying.
It's
I know he
no
isn't.
lies told there. No lies told.
I feel like it was a perfect time, especially on PTD, to go off the live chat. Is it good to change the topic, or we still have stuff to add for this one?
I think Kane covered everything. I was going to echo his thoughts on the defensive badges, depending on what they are. Like a defensive tackle with a badge is going to wreck shop, like grip breaker or something like that. That can make quite a bit of difference. I know my like third string defensive tackle last year had grip breaker. I put him in instead of the starter, and he was like, I don't know, 10, 15 overall below, but he'd still get better penetration than my regular D tackle. So the badges definitely do make a difference on defense if they're the right badges. Because at the same time, I've seen corners with jammer that can't play bump and run to save their life. So defense is still at a disadvantage overall, I'd say.
Oh, this is college football. Defense is always gonna be at a disadvantage no matter what.
Facts.
True.
Um, all right. It's an open discussion time about the rules. Are there any rules y'all want to talk about in regards to the new rules that were added? Like, for example, fourth down rules, jumbo set rules, rollout rules, play action rules, mixing it up rules.
I
Anyone?
mean, for me personally, I think that I like the fact that the fourth down rule is more broken down. It's easier to understand. Only gripe that I've ever had with the fourth down rule is that I wish it was just 4th and 3 and not 4th and 4. I think Pat had touched on it at a previous show that the defense should be rewarded for their solid play of making you come up short in that instance. So giving somebody that extra yard is kind of like I don't know. It's a little bit of a pain. I remember back in the day, like when you stopped somebody on third down, it didn't matter what what the yardage were. Unless it was like 4th and 1, nobody was going for it. So like that
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
like that sense of achievement was there, but now it's like it's not there because it's like oh yeah, 4th and 4,
I
he's still gonna go for it.
I
Get the
agree, and I
defense
think it.
out.
Yeah, I think it goes
Sorry,
back
go
to
Bear.
the last. I think it goes back to the last topic. What? How can we help defense? Well, the fourth down rule would help. You know, going back to
Eh,
what DK said, 4th and 3.
Well, I agree. Look, that's honestly a perfect one. Bringing that down to 4th and 3. The rules are better spread out now, but I agree with everything DK just said there. Make the defense get rewarded.
I have a question about this in general. Um,
Okay.
I almost feel like this topic splits into two things, right? You have like the actual gameplay rules, and then you have like the unwritten rules, which are where the coaching reports come in, and then people are still using the actual rule set, right? But like I think people spend a lot of time caught up on the rules because of how it can impact your coaching score and how your coaching score impacts your draft position, et cetera. So I don't know because I don't win games. I don't care. I'm here for a fucking good time with the boys, and I have that. So it's irrelevant. I make sure I follow the rules. I know them, but I've never had a bad coaching report because I don't win. We all know how that goes. Point being, I think the guys probably have a lot less questions or concerns with the rules versus how those rules may be used against them to weaponize a coaching report if somebody doesn't like getting beat, et cetera, et cetera. Again, that's not throwing accusations around, but just like a sense I get when you read through the live chat and people's complaints with the rules, it always seems to kind of circle back to, well, if I do this, somebody's going to ding me on my coach report for that. So I know that that's what's in the back of guys' minds, and I just wonder if they're more concerned about what other people will do with the rules versus how the rules impact their game. Well, I
You know,
wonder if anybody else thought something like that.
I kind of touched on this before. All right, when I tell people when you're playing, all right, but you make a decision, you have to not only think about how your decision is impacting your gameplay, but how is your decision going to be received by your opponent? What is their
Yep.
perception on what I just did? You have to keep that in mind. And it's always a good rule of thumb that when your game is over, they say, wait to do your coaching report. Oh, just watch your game back. Take that time to that thought that you might have had. Oh, did he roll out too soon, or did he was this the same exact play, or whatever the case may be? Take a look at it. It takes you not even that much time to do so, and you might see a different thing than what you thought you saw initially, and that'll help. But there are people who kind of skirt. Like one of the things that I try to tell people, like these jumbo sets, when it comes to the running inside the 10, inside your own 10, inside your opponent's 10, great. Short yardage situations, great. But
Yes, sir.
we know for a fact that the defensive alignment in this game you cannot switch. Okay, it's hard to adjust, and sometimes against jumbo sets, the game will put your defense in a way that you don't even want them. So now you're at a disadvantage, and you can't adjust, or you have to manually try to adjust, and that's not easy to do with just one player. Like you need to actually
Hmm.
adjust multiple players in this situation. So that's why I do like that rollout rule. That is something you can. It's a gray area. I mean, if they're here's my. I'm going to be completely honest. If you have three down linemen, I'm probably going to look to run. Like the new me is probably going to look to run more so than look to pass first because you have all the passing lanes covered. You have everything out there. That's what you're worried about. So like, hey, y'all, bye. Gone. If the lane opens up in the
Ground game,
middle, I'm
baby.
gone. I'm not gonna roll. I'm not gonna roll out. But if the lane opens up in the middle, I'm taking it because
Yeah,
you're not you're
yeah,
trying to cover everything else. But the people who drift, they do that snap and then they like to just drift to the right, or they'll roll out to the right real quick, and then they'll wait for that guy to get open, or wait for him to take off and then throw the ball. Yeah, that's annoying. I'm gonna ding you. Like if
yep.
you're doing it a lot, I'm gonna ding you. Especially if I know for a fact I'm not sending pressure, because sometimes what I'll do is I'll either spy or I'll send that D in to the flats, so I know for a fact he's not coming at you. So for you to do it anyways, yeah, I'm gonna ding you.
Yeah, there were some
Who?
guys. Their whole offense was based on just kind of drifting out to the right, and waiting for that crosser or somebody to come across to get open, and it was very annoying.
Another rule that I saw people talking about recently, and I think it's an interesting discussion, was the two clock rule. Um, there's been some games that would give the guys that say, well, I can be able to two clock sooner some merit. I mean, I think Roke last year, I think, with Boston College against Alabama, right? That was one of those. Um, again, I'm not to that, but like you just think about D. Kennedy walking it off on Jiggy, like just different things where like end of game scenarios just get crazy and results change in a big hurry. Um, and then even in the first half, like I think you're only supposed to do it last 2 minutes of the game or up 28. But what if you do it in the first half? Either you get the guy off guard because he's in a dime defense for some reason, and you can just run it down his throat until he takes the timeout to stop it, or the opposite. Maybe you don't want to shoot clock because you want him to use his timeout. So when he has 40 seconds to go in the quarter, he can't go make a drive. Um, I just I don't know what people. That one seems to be a very contentious one because obviously in video game football, 2 minutes can be a lot of time. We've seen that. Um, so it's just one of those ones where you straddle that in real life sim aspect that we aim for versus the spirit of the NDL and respect for your opponent and not just fucking at 3 minutes you start chewing the clock, even though quote unquote you're well within your. I'm not even necessarily saying the actual chew clock, but the proverbial go through your playbook for 32 seconds and snap it with one. Like, what do people think about that? Like, not just in the end game 2 minutes, like the 2 minutes. Two questions, sorry, specifically fourth quarter, 2 minutes to 2:40, because that's where people are drawing the distinction, right? The rule is under 2 minutes, and guys are saying, well, I should be able to do it at 2:40 to get to the 2 minute mark. And then the second half of that would be your thoughts on people using two clocks in the last 2 minutes of the first half.
I
I'll,
know for
I'll
me. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll be honest, I can't stand shoe clock. I mean, I agree with you at the last 2 minutes of the game, but I mean, even if you're up 28 points, please don't choose the clock. Look, I at least want to give every second at least try to make a comeback. I prefer to play an entire game, and if you run, if you pick your play and just run the play, don't chew the clock when you're up 28. That's just
All right.
me. Be nice to freak.
I agree.
Here's where I'm at. I feel
That's
like
why I
at two
asked it.
minutes and 30. I feel like at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you should be able to go ahead and chew clock because it's a 30-second runoff. So, if you go ahead and put the chew clock on at 2:30, and you come out in the formation, you can run it down to two, and then you can go ahead from that point on. That's where I think it should be fair. But if I'm up 28, or if I have the game well in hand, no, I don't want to give you an opportunity for EA to do some EA stuff. And no, we're not doing that. That just does not make any sense. Like, I don't
Hey,
see why a team who already is subjected, especially let's say you're up 35, you're already subjected to running a specific type of offense so that you don't let this happen, you don't score. Why am I going to put myself in an even more disadvantage by giving you even more time? Oh, come on, man. Make that make sense.
DK,
No.
DK, DK, don't get Rochambeau, man.
Don't give Rochambeau,
So
he
you
says.
guys make the point that I'm like, that's where I'm thinking though, right? So Freak says, come on, man, don't shit me. Give me all the time that I got. DK says, hell no, man. Like, I'm trying to win this damn game. I'm not, if I'm within the parameters of the rules, I'm going to use it. And like, I totally get both sides. I guess my whole point is it's not just the clock rule, it's any of them, but the clock rule is just my example. There's different mindsets in the league, and we're not the NFL where there's parity and everybody can beat anybody on a given day, and we're all on the same plane. Instead of like, I don't win games. I mentioned it. I'm here for a good time. So like, an opinion on that from me isn't going to be the same as an opinion from a guy who's competing for a conference championship, trying to make the playoffs, and is in a situation where he may be down two scores under 2 minutes and could get back, or he is up 14 and doesn't want to give another skilled user the opportunity. So just the rules in general, I think that there's so much disparity in opinion because we're coming from so many different user skill levels that they either don't impact you at all or they impact you in different ways. That's just how I think we land on these rules.
Hey,
Disagreeing with you.
hey, hey, Coog, you were about to say something earlier. What were you gonna say, Coog?
Well, I guess talking about the chew clock is, and I agree. Like in a real life situation with DK, yeah, I want to get out of that ball game. But like last night, I was up 13 in the fourth quarter and went down by one and had to kick a field goal because I just kept running plays. But I think you got this is a league, and everybody has lives. So this guy's spending an hour to play a game against you. So I don't want to sit there and just make it miserable for him. So I try to do the spirit of the league over I just want to win. So I mean I agree with the two clock rules as they are now. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
I think it's fair.
I believe in the spirit of the league also. Well, I pump the brakes if I'm up, especially in the first half. I'm putting the brakes on. But at the same time, you know, we are here for the camaraderie. We are here to enjoy the game. But at the end of the day, you kind of want to win. If you win, great. If you don't, okay, cool. That's kind of how it is. But if you don't want to put yourself in a position that's kind of like, yeah, you just screwed yourself, buddy. But I respect my opponent to the point, like, if I'm only up like 7 or 14 or even 21, I'm still going to try to call my plays in a timely manner, just because I don't feel as though I have the right or any. I'm in a position where I can justify controlling that clock like that. If I'm not controlling it by moving the ball and being methodical that way, then I don't need to have even more of a advantage trying to eat it up even more. And that's why if I think like somebody's taking too long or anything like that, when I watch the game back, I'll watch it from their side and I'll see what it was that they were doing. If maybe they were, making substitutions, maybe they were, doing some adjustments. Some of that stuff comes into play, and I have to be understanding or considerate of that, so that I'm not jumping the gun, thinking somebody's just being a complete a hole and just trying to use up all that time. Because it does happen sometimes where you'll come out there and you see guys come up to the line and it's like, okay, could you go ahead and snap the ball? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? Or why haven't you picked the play yet? Like,
Damn
some of us
ball,
get that way.
snap the ball. Hey, so all of us have been in this. Actually, one thing I would have added was I agree with you with the jumbo sets. They really should only be ran in red zone and within your own 10 yard line. They shouldn't be allowed any other part of the field. Because coming out in a goal line set is ridiculous at the 50. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles do the tush push. Who gives a beep? All right, on to the next topic. I'm gonna skip the games of the week for a second. And we've all been in this league for more than one season, except for Swove. He had last year and this year. What were you dinged about on your coaching report that was very questionable?
I think we all
Now,
know what
question.
my dings are or were. I didn't have any dings last season, thankfully, but yes, runs the ball too much of all things. When I first entered the
Oh,
league as an NDLer, like way back before our hiatus and all that, I got so many negative coach reports for running the ball too much. Like, why doesn't he throw? Why is he running the ball? Why is he running a draw on 3rd and 6? Literal coach reports that I got back in the day. So, um, very questionable in my opinion, but that was probably the most obnoxious thing that I've gotten on a coach report.
Hey, my coach, I actually got sent back to the farm one time because I beat Jeff Moe when he had Michigan and I had Navy. So,
Oof.
that was interesting. It was fun, but no, there was like I got dinged because it was during the time of the user catches and the rocket catches. I was killing it with Ben Utech. Like I was just hitting you across the middle, and I also got dinged for blitzing too. That was something that I got dinged for back in the.
so he was nanoing.
No, I was controlling the
Just
D
always
line
blitzing.
back then. Yeah, I was just always blitzing, but I was controlling like back then. Doc and I, we were like monsters with the D line. Like our D tackles and D ends would have like outrageous numbers, but that's what I controlled back before the hiatus. I wasn't a linebacker guy. I would control the safety or the corner sometime. I did get that from Chase. He and I we would talk and work on that stuff. So those I would do like to throw people off. But for the most part, I was just a D lineman guy.
Okay. Yo, I gotta say, I got dinged a 4, and all the comment just read that D line isn't fair. I'm sorry, what did I get dinged for?
Okay.
I mean, aren't we supposed to go to expression or at least commentary, explain at least what we did wrong?
Supposed to, yeah.
I said somebody's talking that I can't hear because
You can't hear?
Not care freak. I don't think
I
anybody
can
else
hear
is
Freak.
talking.
It was just the way that Freak was pausing. It was like somebody else was talking to him, and I was like, "Hold on, did
Oh
somebody
no,
else
I'm
come
not.
in?" That would
Nah, my bad, y'all.
All right. Anyone else? Any good ones?
Well, all mine are glowing, but that's just because I get beat all the time.
Second that one. I've literally never gotten anything less than a 24, and I think I only got a 24 because justifiably I went no huddle for some reason when the clock stopped and the ball was out of bounds, which is right in the rules. So literally 124 and everything else 25. Because if you don't win games, you get good coaches.
Hey, all fives from me.
Yeah, like back in the 05, 6, 7 days, I've got dinged several times. Emails sent to admin, and but
Oh,
yep.
stupid. Yeah, it was
Really?
awesome.
Emails.
Yeah, they had the
Yeah.
emails. Yeah,
that's how we did it back in the day.
Look, I came in 2012, so I don't remember anything about emails.
I think I still got one in my Gmail. So
I lost the Gmail that I had mine. I'd always have these emails from Noel.
oh yeah.
All right. I have to drop off soon, but I want to ask you guys, what are the games of the week to watch out for in Block 2? I'll let you guys go.
All right, I'll just spew mine out real quick. Week 3, I want to one of the games of the week for me is Indiana versus VTech because VT has been coming so close in his games, and I'm just wondering if this is going to be the game that he gets to upset somebody in. The next one's going to be G Tech versus Clemson. You know, Steen has an 89 overall offense, and the dude knows how to put things together on the defensive side of the ball. So, will it be enough for him to slow down that rushing attack and get himself a win? Tennessee and Georgia look good. LSU and Florida, of course, I want to see Penguin and G get down. That's going to be so much fun. And my boy Pat, him and Iraka, that's another one of my games. So, yeah, those are the games for me.
Dang, you took all the good ones, Kane. I'm
You said week
scrolling
4?
through. Oh yeah, I guess let me take a look at week 4. Let me jump over there. Let's see what we got.
While you're looking,
Clearly,
I
week
got
3 is
one
the one.
game.
Yeah. Okay.
So the game that I'm looking out for in Block 2, as of right now, at least, number 18 Indiana taking on number 23 Illinois in Champaign. Obviously, those numbers could change since we don't have an updated AP poll yet, but this could have implications in one of two ways, I think. Illinois, right now 1-0, could either come into this game desperately needing a win after a loss to potentially Louisville, myself, to stay in the CFP top 25 conversation, or they could cement themselves as, a legit contender, getting hot with a start against two ranked teams potentially if they beat Louisville and again beat Indiana at home. Indiana already beaten a Big 12 CFP hopeful in Jumper at Baylor. So right now it feels equally as likely that Illinois could either start off undefeated and jumpstart their CFP campaign, or they may end up stumbling out of the gate and sink that ship early. So I think that could have a lot of implications for Illinois in particular, and just how the Big Ten conference shakes out as a whole. So I'm looking forward to watching that game.
Nice.
I'd like to watch that the Tennessee Georgia, see how Jose bounces back, and the OU Auburn, see if Weasel can play some defense. So,
Yeah, OU Auburn was on my list for week 4 as well. I am also curious to see USC Michigan State. I want to see what Metro can do against USC. Cruising hasn't played a game yet, so I want to see how he handles being in the big leagues. And shoot, I lost the other one. I just had it. Oh, Utah, Texas Tech. So we can see how Wilds bounces back and this. See if Utah can keep the train rolling, as that's probably going to have a lot of conference implications there.
For week 4, just to add 3 more, you got the Ohio State versus Ole Miss. You got Duke versus NC State, Miami versus Florida. Actually, another one that I want to look at is 2 other ones. I'm not even gonna lie. ECU versus Miami, Ohio, and Buffalo versus UAB.
Yeah, Buffalo one's a good one. I think we'll all be watching East Carolina's games at this point now.
Anything else you guys want to talk about while we're here before we head off?
Nothing on my end.
No, I'm all good here.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just say me and Drew, when we get the drunk on downs up running, we'll dive more into the Weasel, Marion, stuff like that. That'll be more our speed. So.
We've done that till 1:30 in the morning last night. We are trying like hell to get that off the ground.
I look forward to it.
I thought it was a good discussion today, boys. I mean, there's a lot of healthy, I would put it this way, right? There's a lot of good, healthy debate conversation in here, but I hope that it continues to extend back out into the live chat and more guys give their opinion because, again, just hearing what other people have to say, a lot of things seem to make a lot more sense after you've thought about somebody else's point of view in my mind, right? Like, just because there's so many different aspects to this and why I ask questions about the things that I think to other guys who I think know more, because there's probably a pretty legit thought process behind a lot of these things. Same with the rules committee on all these. Just we all have to just agree to disagree sometimes, and just enjoy and embrace the debate and why we're really all here. I think PTD does a good thing about bringing this one all right. Just this is the kind of thing that whether you agree with what we're saying or don't, at least these shows are bringing everybody together and you're hearing people out, which in the real world is a lot harder to get people to do these days and things. So I just appreciate that we have multiple shows going like this and that we don't shy away from talking about these.
All said.
Well said, Drew. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you guys.
I'm going to pop off. Yep, we got to get back. Appreciate you
I was
guys.
gonna
Yeah,
say
Thank you.
thank you guys for joining. Y'all have a great day. Beer Cop,
too.
Beer Cop, Drew. Thank you for joining for your first PTD show. It's good to have y'all on.
Enjoyed it.
Y'all have a good one.
All right. Thanks. Take care.